Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Some worked closely with Kwame Kilpatrick, others battled it out with him in court. And tonight you're hearing their reactions to the news that Kwame Kilpatrick may soon be out of prison.
I'm Local 4 defender Karen Drew. Kwame Kilpatrick receives clemency, so what does that mean? And I'll tell you what could happen if he doesn't pay back the millions of dollars owed. Coming up.
And a 5-year-old shot and killed by an 18-month-old? The tragedy unfolding in Detroit that now has a father in custody.
But we begin with the inauguration of the 46th president and a message of unity from President Biden.
And so today, at this time, in this place, let's start afresh, all of us. Let's begin to listen to one another again, hear one another, see one another.
President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris took the oath of office around noon, beginning the task of healing a divided nation. And the Democrats officially took control of Congress just moments ago.
Short while ago, President Biden entered the White House after a short parade through the nation's capital. Former President Trump leaving Washington before the inaugural festivities, but wishing the new administration success. Alice Barr is in Washington, where security was tight today. Alice.
Devin and Kimberly, this is a day of tradition with a heavy focus on a shared history aimed at bringing Americans back together. Outside the U.S. Capitol that helped shape his life and career, Joseph R. Biden today becoming the 46th president of the United States and vowing to serve every American.
This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge, and unity is the path forward.
The rituals of the peaceful transfer of power taking on deeper meaning in the very spot where a violent mob tried to derail democracy.
It did not happen. It will never happen.
Facing a field of flags in place of the supporters who could not safely travel here, President Biden vowing to beat back the pandemic and bridge the jagged political divide.
We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue.
He explicitly condemned white supremacy on a day when this country marks a milestone moment.
To our first African American, our first Asian American, and our first woman vice president.
Vice President Kamala Harris taking her oath of office and smashing barriers of gender and race.
So help me God.
Her predecessor, Mike Pence, standing by, along with 3 former presidents who joined President Biden to pay respects at Arlington National Cemetery. The outgoing president leaving Washington this morning, the first in 152 years to skip his successor's swearing in, telling a small group of supporters,
"I will always fight for you. I will be watching."
President Biden taking his place in the White House in a moment of ceremony and celebration, but also solemnity. The new president immediately getting to work, eager to sign more than a dozen executive orders, including on climate change and mask wearing, also unveiling a sweeping immigration reform bill. The self-proclaimed average Joe, who sought America's highest office for decades, now begins the true test of governing and turning ideals into reality. Beginning with a church service this morning, the president and prominent Republican leaders took several opportunities to reach across the aisle, a clear exchange of olive branches, though it's unclear how long it will last. From the White House, Alice Barr, Local 4.
All right, Alice. Governor Whitmer and members of Michigan's congressional delegation were there for today's inauguration.
We spoke to several who say they were happy to be witnessing history. Grant Herms is live in Lansing at the state capitol, where security was also heightened in case there were protests. Grant, good evening.
Good evening. There were far fewer people, fewer police patrols, and fewer National Guard out here at the state capitol today as opposed to over the weekend, but certainly nothing like the security in Washington, where our members of Congress watched the inauguration today.
Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, a close friend of the Bidens, said the day was filled with pride.
To see 2 people that I've known, Joe and Jill Biden, for almost 40 years, and Kamala became a good friend when she came to Washington, was a moment of personal pride, but also a new beginning.
Representative Andy Levin and Senator Debbie Stabenow reflected on the insurrection and resiliency shown in the inauguration.
It was a pregnant moment with a lot of meaning and a lot of feelings.
There's a part of me that feels like when we say we have a peaceful transfer of power, even though it was rocky a couple of weeks ago, the reality is that's what we had today. And we had for all the world to see that despite all the challenges America has been through, our democracy has survived.
And that was Grant Herms reporting for us. You can watch a recap of the day's inauguration events and see what's coming up tonight right now on clickondetroit.com. Well, before Trump left office, he pardoned or commuted the sentences of 140 people, including former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick.
That means Kilpatrick will be released from prison, serving about 1/4 of his 28-year prison sentence. Kilpatrick spent 6.5 years at the helm in Detroit, 2002 to 2008. But in 2013, he was convicted on 24 counts in federal court, including extortion, bribery, and tax evasion. Feds say he took bribes and got kickbacks and used city funds for himself. And he was sentenced to 28 years in prison, one of the longest prison sentences ever recommended by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Kilpatrick's continued attempts at appeals were denied, so his supporters took their pleas to President Trump. And overnight, his release was granted, with the president saying several prominent leaders in Detroit wanted this.
The president's statement says, quote, "The ends of justice do not require Kilpatrick to remain confined until his currently projected release date of January 18th, 2037, and the safety of the community will not be compromised if he is released." We have team coverage tonight with two people who have been here through it all.
Karen Drew and Hank Winchester covered Kwame Kilpatrick from the moment he was sworn in through today. Karen's looking at what may come next for the former mayor. Let's start, though, with Hank and the reaction from local leaders, which the president said were part of the reason he granted this commutation. Hank?
Yes, Devin, some were part of that. We're talking with insiders, some people who are celebrating today, saying that this is great for Kwame Kilpatrick, this is great for justice overall. But there are others who say what is happening is a huge mistake.
I was a little nauseous when I heard the news.
Attorney Norman Yatuma says he still can't believe it. He cannot believe that Kwame Kilpatrick will soon be a free man.
The 28 years that were his sentence were deserved, and he deserves to finish that out. I think what happened today was a real miscarriage of justice.
During the height of the Manoogian Mansion investigation, Yatuma represented the family of slain stripper Tamara Green. He says her family members are obviously devastated by this news.
They are disgusted and repulsed. You know, we litigated against Kwame for many years in this case, and in the end, of course, he was never punished for what happened to Tammy Green or her kids.
Sharon McPhail was on Detroit City Council during Kilpatrick's first term.
I think that he took responsibility early on for what got him there.
And while their relationship had its ups and downs, she's been in contact with Kilpatrick recently and has been working to help support his fight for freedom.
He was very much trying to be led by a higher power in all of this, and you would have to put up with all of the years of incarceration that he's had.
Detroit's current mayor, Mike Duggan, releasing this statement. Kwame Kilpatrick is a person of great talent who still has much to contribute. I know how close he is to his 3 sons, and I could not be happier for them being together again. This is a decision President Trump got right. We also reached out to Gary Brown today. You may remember he was the reason for the whistleblower lawsuit against Kwame Kilpatrick. He released a statement saying that he hopes and prays that Kwame Kilpatrick's life continues to improve. We're live here tonight. Hank Winchester, back to you.
Yeah, Hank, I'm wondering, do we have any idea when he may be released from prison and then where he might go after that?
Kimberly, we are hearing that it's possible he could be released tonight, although we don't have any confirmation from the Bureau of Prisons regarding his release or where he may be headed once he gets out of prison, either tonight or possibly tomorrow.
Yeah.
Back to you.
We'll be watching. Okay. Hank, thank you. So what's next for Kilpatrick? He will be released, but his convictions still stand.
Exactly. Local 4 defender Karen Drew looking into this difference between a commutation and a pardon. Karen?
Well, Devin, Kilpatrick was hoping for a pardon, which would mean a complete dismissal of the conviction. He did not get that pardon. What he did receive is clemency. So that means the conviction and the restitution still stick.
The streets in downtown Detroit may be quiet, but there's a constant buzz echoing through the latest news about Kwame Kilpatrick.
I want him to do all of his time. All of it, not some of it.
The time they gave him was just over the board, man. It was just too much time. He was wrong what he done, yeah. But I feel anybody's entitled to a second chance.
This is the official executive grant of clemency for Kwame Kilpatrick from former President Trump. Take a close look. You can see it was signed January 13th. That's a week ago. In it, the former president states, "I commute the prison sentence imposed on Kwame Malik Kilpatrick to time served." Also stating, "I leave intact the remaining unpaid balance of the $4,779,826 restitution, the $2,400 special assessment, and the 3-year term of supervised release with all of its conditions."
It doesn't surprise me. I think most people in the public would agree that we want Kwame Kilpatrick to work and generate income so that he can start paying his debt to the city of Detroit.
Once Kilpatrick is released and does start to earn an income, his wages would be garnished to pay back the millions he owes.
And there are several ways to do that. Of course, this is a result of a criminal conviction, so this goes to the top of the list in terms of his debts, but he also has civil money judgments.
So here is the hook. Obviously, you have to have an approved restitution plan of payment. If Kwame Kilpatrick doesn't stick to that payment plan, he could find himself in prison again. As you probably remember, we did report that the defenders went down to Texas and showed his lifestyle and how he was not paying his bills, and that landed him in hot water. Meantime, could he run for office? Well, not 20 years after his conviction, so that would be in 2033. We're live in downtown Detroit. I'm Karen Drew, Local 4 Defenders.
Karen, are we hearing anything from the Kilpatrick family yet?
We did reach out to the family. Basically what they are telling us at this point, until Mr. Kilpatrick walks out of prison, is a free man, they are not going to say anything, and they want to have a unified statement. So we still are waiting for that.
Yeah. All right, Karen, we will have continuing coverage of this story throughout this next 90 minutes of news.
Coming up at 5:30, we look at how Detroiters are reacting to the news, and not everyone feels the same. And then at 6, Hank talks to a local leader who was pushing for Kilpatrick's release. And right now on clickondetroit.com, Paula Tutman, Hank, and Karen reflect on what it's been like covering Kilpatrick for all these years.
All right, now let's get to new information on a real tragedy in Detroit's West Side.
A 5-year-old is shot and killed by an 18-month-old who found an unsecured gun. It happened in a home on Sturtevant near the Lodge and the Davison. Rod Maloney is live. And Rod, I understand the father is now in custody.
Yes, he is. He's also under arrest, Kimberly. And I don't think we want to speed past the real impact here. We're talking about a toddler, 18 months old, in a house, sees a 9mm Glock sitting on a table, picks it up, starts playing with it, and shoots his 5-year-old cousin. Now, Tiffany Stewart, who is the 10th Precinct commander here in the city of Detroit, talked to us today about this very tragic situation.
And this is what we're dealing with, a baby shot and killed, and it was avoidable.
This is a red and white house at the corner of Sturtevant and LaSalle, sitting among boarded up and burned out homes on Detroit's northwest side. Detroit police tell us a father, a grandmother, and 3 children, a year-old baby girl, an 18-month-old baby boy, and a 5-year-old boy. He was the 18-month-old's cousin, were in the house. A 911 call came from inside.
It was reported at the time that an 18-month-old got a hold of a gun inside of the home, started playing with it, and accidentally shot the 5-year-old.
When the first DPD unit arrived, they found the boy bleeding from his neck, rushed him to the hospital. He later died there. Shortly thereafter, with child abuse investigators at the scene, Detroit police took this man. Family members identified him as the deceased child's father and also the uncle of the 18-month-old who police say pulled the trigger, into custody for questioning. A few hours later, DPD arrested him. Grief-stricken relatives quickly showed up at the scene. Commander Stewart lamented a lack of firearm safety in the home and really across the city.
This is why we emphasize gun safety in the city of Detroit with gun locks and lock boxes so that we don't have circumstances like this. It has been far too many of these type of circumstances in the city of Detroit.
Now, Detroit police are telling us tonight that the 2 children who survived this incident are with the grandmother in the home. In the meantime, we're still awaiting word on an arraignment for the father. That could come as soon as tomorrow, but perhaps later in the week. Reporting live downtown, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Okay. Rod, thank you. Well, she was one of the first to say Kwame Kilpatrick's reign over Detroit must end.
Assault charges. This is like a bad movie that just won't end. We can't take it anymore, and neither can you, Mr. Mayor.
Coming up, reuniting with Carmen Harlan as she shares her thoughts on Kwame Kilpatrick's release.
Bernie.
Hey, Devin. Lions with a huge commitment. Yes, Kimberly. The Lions with a huge commitment to their next head coach, Dan Campbell. He officially comes on board tomorrow, but wait till you hear about his contract. That's coming up in moments. Ben?
Bernie, we've got temperatures in the teens. At least that's where we started this morning. And even though it looked like any other day, kind of a weather milestone. We'll explain coming up.